move Uber has ever undertaken, and this could backfire horribly. And we're going to dive in. We're going to look at this topic from all sides, because now Uber says they're going to be woman preferences. So women riders and non-binary riders can select a female driver. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is, how do women drivers feel about that? How do male drivers feel about that? How do female riders feel about this new feature? I'm sure they're going to be happy. And the way this is going to play out in the real world is going to be extremely interesting, because if a female rider can select a female driver, they will probably be waiting quite a while. And I personally think that Uber will exploit the situation. They're going to put a premium price on that, meaning they will be making more money from female riders. Oh, you wanted this, and you got to be prepared to wait a little longer, and you got to be prepared to pay a premium. So I think it's another angle that Uber is using to try and make more money, to sort of exploit the female rider market. Now, what they say here is that Uber, we believe that when we make our platform better for women, we make it better for everyone. Again, I'm a male. I don't see any mention here where it says at Uber, we believe that when we make our platform better for men, we make it better for everyone. Right? So we have Mario in the house. We have Paolo in the house. I will jump into those comments a little later. I want to really talk about what Uber announced on their website, and then how the media is reacting to that and what the problems could be. Right? Now, I'm all for security and safety. That's the number one concern. And my guess is that a lot of females have requested this, female riders. On the flip side, female drivers have been asked to be connected with female riders. That's already in play. That's already in motion, because a lot of female drivers get hit on, and they get hit on badly, especially when men are drunk or feel like, they own that female driver as a male rider. And I have interviewed countless women, how dangerous, how aggravating that can be. And knowing the male species when they've had a shitload to drink, they like to get very, very touchy. And there's a lot of entitlement. So I'll say that about my own sex. I sort of get why female drivers would want to, have female riders in their car. But now you're talking about 50%, perhaps 50%. My guess is there's 50% males, 50% female riders. But you're talking about 50% of female riders, not male drivers, not male riders, but female riders now have the choice to select a female. And the wording, nowhere does it say that a male rider can select a male driver or a female driver, right? So there's no option there for the males. And this is going to piss a shit load of male drivers off. Understandably, it is going to piss a shit load of male drivers off that Uber came out with this feature and is sort of cozying up to the female rider. So as they say, across the United States, women riders and drivers have told us that they want the option to be matched with other women on trips. We've heard them, and now we're introducing new ways to give them even more control over how they ride and drive. For the first time in the United States, we are launching women preferences. Listen to that. There ain't no male preferences. And I'm not butthurt when I'm making this video. I'm not butthurt like, oh, you know what, that's unfair. There's only woman preferences. There are no male preferences. No, I'm looking at this. What is Uber? I'm looking at this as a businessman, as a driver. Am I going to lose business? Probably as a male, yes, because I should be entitled to anyone, male and female, as well as females. I think female drivers should be entitled to anyone, male and females, right? But now you have a special tool catered to women riders where they can set their preferences. And female riders, get ready. You're going to be waiting a long time for your car, and you're going to pay more for this feature. So I think the underlying current here, the underlying story is more that Uber is using this as an opportunity to charge female riders more for this feature, which is going to open up a whole new set of legal problems if women band together. If this indeed becomes this feature, women preferences becomes more expensive for females, there will be lawsuits. Why are you charging the males this, and why are you charging us this? So that's how I see it playing out, and I see a ton of other problems. I see a lot of male drivers leave. I actually will predict that a lot of male drivers will be leaving the platform, because if you have female riders that are requesting female drivers, and they're waiting to get their female driver, there's going to be a lot of males cut out of the equation. Your ratio of trips per day is going to go down. You you could do 25 maybe trips a day. You might, I'm taking a guess, you might be looking at 16, 17 trips if lucky, if this feature hits. So what I don't understand is they haven't tested this in the real world, right? How does this play out in the real world? And my prediction is it's going to backfire horribly. It's going to backfire horribly. So Vegan Gem says it will make it safer. I agree. I 100% agree with it. It will make them safe. And she says, I drive at night and I have been hit on a lot. It's scary for me. And I mean, my guess is that Vegan Gem, you are a female driver and you get to select to be coupled with female riders. I get that. We've covered that. I'm not against that. But what I'm saying is that if that 50% of the users, the riders, females, my guess is there's 50% males, 50% females, when they start using their preferences and want to be matched with you, obviously it's going to be beneficial for Vegan Gem, because I guess she is a female driver. So she's going to be matched more and more female drivers are going to be matched with female riders. So I guess it would get busier for you. And again, I'm not shooting the idea down. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to sort of weigh up the pros and cons here. I'm also going to be talking about two articles that immediately, it's all over the news. If you put in Uber News, it dominates the news. That is the only news segment, this new announcement. It covers every single outlet, every TV station, every newspaper are talking about this, right? So Paulo Oliveira says it's discrimination against male drivers. And you have a very, very good point there. Because if we would switch the shoes and make this male preferences only, a woman would be saying, hey, hang on, what about me? Right? And right now, with woman preferences, I'm just saying this out loud, there are no male preferences, right? So males are going to feel slighted and pissed off about this. You got to understand that, ladies. You got to understand that there's going to be a lot of male drivers really, really pissed off today, especially when they see their trip count and their earnings go down, and potentially female drivers, and we got to do this test, right? Sergio, Chris, if you're listening, we got to conduct this test. When this kicks in and we start comparing the same amount of hours of a female driver and a male driver per week on the platform, who's getting more trips, who's earning more money? There's going to be a lot of fallout over this. Philip Stack says some women don't like other women hitting on them as well. Of course, very, very valid, very, very valid point. Lizard Hunter says it's the damn third world. So back to the article. Let's get this viral. We already have 62 people in the house. I only have 3 likes. Hit that like button, please. Right. Making this video on my time for you guys because we really need to open up the dialogue about this. And my guess is that, the more likes we hit, the more actually riders we can reach. I'd like to hear from female riders and male riders on this topic. I really would, right? I want them to chime in here, right? Yes, this is a channel for drivers, but I love the feedback from riders. I want to hear from you female riders and male riders. How do you feel about this? Right? Aria said hi. Ellen's in the house. If a woman wants this, I want no UFO riders from strange neighborhoods. I like that. I like that. Somebody must have written something nasty because YouTube censored them, so they kicked them out of that one. So across the United States, women riders and drivers have told us they want the option to be matched with other women on trips. We've heard them, and now we're introducing new ways to give them even more control over how they ride and drive. For the first time in the United States, we are launching women preferences, and as I say that, I notice that on my Starbucks cup, they put a female, didn't put a male. They put like some hot green blonde on there, right? Interesting, right? Maybe that sells better. So for the first time in the United States, we're launching women preferences, features designed to give women riders and drivers more choice, more confidence, and more flexibility when they use Uber. Pilots will begin in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Detroit in the next few weeks. So those are their pilot projects. Here's how it works, folks. Thomas is in the house. Women riders will soon have more ways to choose rides with women drivers. Again, I want to add my 25 cents. It doesn't say men riders will soon have more ways to choose rides with men drivers. Request on demand. When requesting a trip on demand, women riders will see an option called women drivers. If the wait time is longer than anticipated, they can always opt for another ride with a faster pickup. So if you're a woman and a woman rider and you've chosen a woman driver and it's taking way too long, and let's say you have a 40-minute wait, oh, guess what? You can resort back to men. You can have a male pick you up. Reserve in advance. For more planning and certainty, women riders can use Reserve to pre-book a trip with women drivers. And there is no Reserve in advance for men. It says doesn't say for more planning and certainty, men riders can use Reserve to pre-book a trip with men drivers. Doesn't say that. It says for more planning and certainty, women riders can use Reserve to pre-book a trip with women drivers. Set a preference. Riders can set a preference for a woman driver in their app settings. While it's not guaranteed, turning on the woman preference increases your chances of being matched with a woman driver. For drivers, women drivers will soon have the option to request trips with woman riders. Some apps offer that already, including during peak earning hours like evenings. This means more opportunities to earn on their terms with flexibility and confidence. It doesn't say men drivers will soon have the option to request trips with men riders. So again, that feature not made available to male drivers, right? The same feature that is for female riders choosing female drivers, as well as female drivers choosing female riders, both options not made available to males. Men, right? Si, senor. Not you, the man. So, I mean, is this like going to be like a dick versus vagina type of fight that's going to play out on Uber? I don't know. All I know is there's going to be a shitload of males that are going to be hurt about this. And I just have a feeling that Uber is going to abandon this. Why Uber introduced this? Oh, they see this as another opportunity, right? They're obviously desperate. Actually, we have a driver just go by right now into Starbucks. I want to ask him. I actually want to ask him. I'm going to ask him as he comes out. I know him. He just wove to me. So this is going to be interesting. This is, how do you feel about this, my friend? And let's listen to his answer, right? Listen to his answer. He's coming out of Starbucks any second now. This is going to be I'm going to put him on the spot. Hey, bro, come up here. I have a question for you, right? So women drivers will soon have the option to request trips with women riders, including during peak earning hours like evenings. This means more opportunities to earn on their terms with flexibility and confidence. Women drivers can simply toggle on the woman rider preference in the app settings. If they want to receive trip requests from all their riders, they can turn the preference off at any time. A feature shaped by real feedback. So it's the feedback that called for this. Now, I can understand the feedback from females wanting this. I can truly understand, respect, and appreciate why you want this feature. What you're not taking into consideration is how this plays out in the real world, how your male counterpart will be affected. So when we first launched woman rider preferences in Saudi Arabia, they launched this in Saudi Arabia. Hit the like button, everyone. In 2019, following a landmark law granting women the right to drive, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Since then, the feature has expanded to 40 countries, completing over 100 million trips. Of course, riders wanted the same choice, but making this work reliably, not just symbolically, required thoughtful design. Most drivers are men, so we've worked to ensure this feature was truly usable in different places around the world. We tested, listened, and refined it in markets like Germany and France, adapting the feature to real-world rider and driver behaviors. As a result, in a first for the industry, we're able to launch more reliable features that offer women riders multiple ways to be matched with a woman driver. As we expand women preferences across the United States, we'll continue improving the experience through education, partnerships, and features. Now, that is what Uber has to say about the topic, right? That is what they say about this topic, this thing that they've just introduced. I do got to read to you. This one says, the new Uber features leaves users extremely divided as people point out major issues. Okay, let's see what this article says. So the new Uber feature, this woman preferences, leaves users extremely divided as people point out major issues. The move has sparked an enthusiastic debate, and I will guarantee you there will be a very enthusiastic debate breaking out on this live stream. Even when it's ended, this is going to be a very, very watched video. A lot of people are going to watch this video because it is going to go viral, because the topic is very, very touchy, right? This will piss off many people. This will also make a lot of people happy. So it's a very divisive topic. I think a very dangerous decision by Uber. They made it. They'll have to stick to it. But most of the times what we know from Uber and Lyft is they'll roll out a pilot project. You know, they change their underpants 25 times a day. They get cold feet, they abolish it, they try the next, right? They're looking at new ways to make more money. So this is by the writer Gerard Kaonga. Fierce debate has been sparked on social media following the news that Uber are set to trial a new feature that could potentially be a slippery slope. Uber has said they are determined to make the platform better for its female users, as it's taking steps to make them feel safer. Greg's in the house. Greg says, Professor, I will identify as a woman if that's the case. Vegan Gem says, they don't allow women to go with men in Saudi. Okay, you know that for a fact? So Uber said they are determined to make the platform better for its female users and is taking steps to make them feel safer. In a post on July the 23rd, they announced they would be trialing a scheme called Women Preferences, features designed to give women riders and drivers more choice, more confidence, and more flexibility when they use Uber. The scheme, which will allow women passengers to select women drivers, and fellow women passengers will be trialed, like we said, LA, San Francisco, Detroit. The company said across the United States, women riders and drivers have told us they want the option to be matched with other women on trips. We've heard them, and now we're introducing new ways to give them even more control over how they ride and drive. Will Lyft copy this? I think what Lyft will do is they will see how this plays out. They will look at their stats. Are we losing more female riders, right? They will look at their stats, and they will quickly adjust in the next few months. For the women wanting a female driver, when requesting a trip on demand, women riders will see an option called women drivers. And if the wait time is longer than anticipated, they can always opt for another ride with a faster pickup. On the driver side, according to the companies, women drivers will soon have the option to request trips with women riders, including during peak earning hours like evenings. They can also receive trip requests from all riders if they so choose. While some people have praised Uber for this move, many on social media have been less convinced. Here it is. One Reddit user said, on one hand, I understand where the policy is coming from. On the other hand, this seems like a slippery slope and might cause more problems than not. I will agree with that. Let me read this again. The Reddit user says, on one hand, I understand where the policy is coming from. On the other hand, this seems like a slippery slope and might cause more problems than not. We allow women to say they don't feel comfortable with male drivers and select female only, but would that work in any other context with any other demographic? What if someone said white drivers only? That would be considered abjectly racist, because it is, right? Right? Imagine you would just allow that feature. Oh, I only want a white driver, or I only want a black driver, or I only want a Hispanic driver. That would cause chaos. So will you be using the service if it comes to your city, right? I'm asking that to female riders. Will you be using that service if it comes to your city? Another argued, not trying to start anything, but curious. How will it apply to those who identify differently, right? Binary. You know, when they say, they know they're a male, but they show up and say, well, you know, I'm actually a female. You got to take me. Interesting. However, another person open to Uber addressing the women's safety issue commented, I've seen a ton of anecdotes people have been sharing as both riders and drivers, all of which report horror stories of absolute creepos trying to seduce the woman in both positions. I have no idea if this is the right solution, but it seems reasonable to say that it is indeed a problem needing a solution. Another agreed and added, I've had poor experiences with creepy cab drivers. None of those poor experiences were with woman drivers. This is much welcome feature for me, says another person. What do you think? Would you be using this if the feature came to your city? I wanted you to leave your comments below. Now, there is one final article here, which I would like to read. Where is it? And it says, this is by a website called Pink News. Pink News, probably a female channel. It says, women and non-binary Uber riders will soon be able to request women drivers. Uber is working to introduce a filter that will allow women and non-binary riders to request women drivers. The woman preference feature, which many women and non-binary people have been pressuring the company to introduce for some time, will firstly arrive in LA, San Francisco, and Detroit in the next few weeks. Across the United States, women riders and drivers have told us they want the option to be matched with women on trips. We've heard them, and now we're introducing new ways to give them even more control over how they ride and drive. The transport company added that the new features are designed to give women riders and drivers more choice, more confidence, and more flexibility when they use Uber. Nadege Jean says, US woman driver, we need more for our service too. TIUS says, I was a couple years ago, I'd been not driving almost 3 years, and now help me, I have that, I don't know what that guy's saying. Hugh Gray says, I'll be waiting for the lawsuit. Doesn't sound legal. Young Tim says, this is very discriminatory. And by the way, these are valid comments. These are valid reactions by male drivers. Absolutely, right? Emmanuel Bermudez says, Lyft needs to do them and not worry about Goober. That's the only way people will choose them. Rideshare Rodeo in the house. I look forward teaming up with Steve Rideshare Rodeo soon. Still waiting on that Uber driver to come out of Starbucks. I'd like to ask him this question. ASM Criminal says, yeah, the men that identify as a woman can request woman drivers. This is not good. Richard Albright says, you did right. Let's see, what other comments do we have here? Emmanuel says, what if one of these people that identify as a woman? Polish pimp. I've done probably 10 rides on both apps, maybe 15 at most. I honestly can't remember a single woman driver. Emmanuel says, another safety feature for riders, but won't verify passengers for us drivers. That need that to be the number one safety feature. Good point. Felicia says, Lyft has women connect on the app. Yeah, that's what sort of Uber is trying to achieve here. Right, here's my friend. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Doing a live stream. Did you hear about the thing that they're bringing out that female riders can now choose female? What do you think? I'm not going to show your face. I just want to hear your feedback.
I think that's discrimination. So.
Discrimination. Okay, I think that's what, I'm talking to a lot of male drivers here. That's the number one thing they say. It is discriminatory because it's not offered the other way.
A lot of women, they're going to prefer women. So
yeah, of course.
A lot of men, they're not going to get rides anymore.
They're not going to get the rides. And if your rides drop per day,
Yeah.
if you're dropping from 25 to 16 a day,
Yeah.
you're not making the same money, and you're probably going to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not showing your face here,
I
so
know,
don't worry.
it's
I'm
okay,
just.
it's okay.
That's really, really good feedback, and I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I don't think it's gonna work.
I don't think it's going to work either. They say they're trying it out in LA, San Francisco, Detroit. Like they're trying it out, a pilot.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work.
I think it's stupid, but
Stupid is the answer. There it is.
Yeah.
And out of respect, I'm not going to show the gentleman's face, but he's awesome. He's a great driver. I always meet him at Starbucks, and we go by and say hi to each other. Drive safe, my brother. See you. Thank you. I didn't want to just put him on the spot and show his face. That would not have been unfair. But you heard his answer. He said, it's unfair, it's discriminatory, and our rides are going to be going down. The amount of male trips are going to be going down. Doesn't that sound familiar? That is exactly what I said in my opening remarks. Exactly that. And it is so important. And I really got the chance there to interview a male driver at Starbucks. Yeah, I'm not lying. I'm at Starbucks, right? At Starbucks on Sepulveda. And out of respect, I'm not just going to like put his face on the camera, right? Like this chick here is getting Starbucks. That's the place, Starbucks. A lot of the drivers come here. That didn't happen to be a driver, so I have no problem showing the people walking in and out. I just want to show you we're at Starbucks, and I actually had a chance in this live video to put a driver on the spot and say, hey, did you know about this feature? Yes, I just found out about it. How do you feel about it? You heard his remarks, right? So Love My Hometown says not enough female drivers on the apps. Now, that's going to be a problem. When a female rider requests a female driver, there are not enough female drivers on the app. I sort of understand why. I understand why female drivers don't want to be on the app. And these people are going to wait a long, long time. But they're like, if you are a rider, a female rider, and you insist on a female driver and you are prepared to wait a long, long time, or as they say, you can even book them in advance. A female rider can book a female driver in advance. So if you get matched, I will guarantee you that rider, that female rider, will be paying more for that reservation than a general reservation. So this is another tactic for Uber to squeeze more money out of female riders, and it's going to hurt male drivers. It'll really hurt male drivers. Watch the trip count go down, meaning when it starts hurting your pocketbook, when you say, hey, shit, I'm losing these trips to a female driver, male drivers are going to get pissed off. They will get pissed off. So they say the feature will give Uber users the ability to request on-demand woman-only drivers, reserve pre-booked trips with woman drivers, and set up preference for woman drivers to increase the chance of being matched with one. Female drivers will also be able to request woman riders. Uber first launched the woman rider preference in Saudi Arabia. I already said that and they say, we listened. Uber says, we listened to you. The press release adds, of course, riders wanted the same choice, but making this work reliably, not just symbolically, required thoughtful design. Most drivers are men, so we've worked to ensure this feature was truly usable in different places around the world. We tested, listened, and refined it in markets like Germany and France, adapting the feature to real-world rider and driver behaviors. As a result, in a first for the industry, we're able to launch more reliable features that offer women riders multiple ways to be matched with a woman driver. In 2022, Uber launched an anti-discrimination button on the platform to help LGBTQ people feel safe during journeys. Now, you get to leave your feedback, right? That's important. Your feedback matters. I kindly request, firstly, hit the like button, right? We've got 43 people in the room. We only have 21 likes. This video is going to get a lot of attention. It's going to get a lot of views, and I will guarantee you all the channels, whether it's the Rideshare guy, all the channels will be talking about this, whether it's Jeff Watts, whether it's Stephen from Rideshare Rodeo, everyone will be making a video. I will put money on that. This is a hot topic. So Anthony Fly says, there's a lot of female on the app after hours, especially after dark. True. Rex Master Dragon says, and it won't make a difference. Income payments are still the issue. They are. The income for drivers are still the number one issue. But it will become even more of an issue when you see that your earnings will go down further. Mark my words. Boss Destroyer. I'm an Uber driver and I haven't got a single tip since September 14th, 2024. That sounds wrong, my friends. He's an Uber driver and hasn't received a single tip since September the 14th, 2024. So within 1 year, impossible. And I'd like to know, how many trips do you do per week? That is statistically impossible. That means they are stealing your tips. Johnny Baltimore says, I think passengers who are tourist or business travelers should be able to request local drivers. Having a driver who knows something about the history, food scene, and culture of an area is valuable. That is a really, really good point, my friend. Valuable feedback from Johnny Baltimore. I like that. Greg says Uber is going to use all of these issues as a reason to come up with the robo-taxi. That is true. I mean, honestly, do they really care? No, they're educating female riders now that you can order a Waymo, a robo-taxi, right? And I mean, with a robo-taxi, there's no male or female driver. No, they just want to win them over, bridge the gap, and get the rider to AV land, to the autonomous vehicle land. And then the drivers are obsolete. They're out of the picture. Love My Hometown says, I got tips every day. They must not like this service. Anthony Fly says, I wasn't comfortable when I picked up two guys and they were kissing and making out in my backseat. I let my voice be heard. Thank God my dash cam mirror showed a live mirror images so they can see themselves. I mean, in all honesty, whether I have gay people in the car or straight people in the car, if they're paying and they're tipping well and they're not messing up my car, they're not vomiting, they're not leaving shit behind, they're welcome in my car. I had a guy get into my SUV. This is when I was on Uber Black SUV or Uber Lux. And the guy said, hey, listen, I'm getting in the car with two girls. Just drive around for an hour. It's going to be like a hotel room. It's going to be a little threesome in the back. Just ignore us. I'm like, dude, whatever floats your boat. He jumps in the back with two girls, goes to town for an hour. I dropped off and, I said, hey, I hope I receive a good tip from you. And I did. I did receive a good tip from him. So I accommodated that. It's crazy, but true. But they're the craziest stories anyway in Uber and Lyft land. So, you're gonna encounter crazy stories. In this job, you will encounter crazy stories. But what I'm very interested to hear is the feedback from female riders. How do you feel about this? Male riders, how do you feel about this? Female drivers who can also soon pick up female riders. They're going to have, the same option as Lyft has. How do you feel about that? And then male drivers and male riders, how do you feel about the fact that female drivers can select female riders and now female riders can select female drivers? How do you feel about that? Timmy says, no, here it ain't going to happen. So today, I'm just little side note, why you need to become a private driver and select your own clientele. You'll never, ever have these issues. You will not have the issues of safety and security, not knowing OSHA. You will get good referrals from good people and you'll make good money. Today, My day is 3 $200 trips. I have 3 bookings today. That's $600. I know that they tip $20 to $30 each. I know the 3 parties. So I could expect, let's say at the minimum $60 tips on top of 600. It's going to be a $660 day. I'm not breaking my back. I'm doing 3 trips. So that's where you want to go. I teach you that. The link is below at Gig Rocket. Seriously, we've signed up thousands and thousands of drivers around the world, taught them how to become a private driver, how to get the licensing, how to get the insurance, how to do the marketing, how to get the people in your car, how to convert them from Uber and Lyft, how to build out your referrals. It's a fantastic 300-minute course at Gig Rocket. It's called the Private Chauffeur Course. Plus, you also learn how to operate a fleet. If you want to duplicate what you are doing and you want to add cars to your fleet, buy cars and add cars, you can make a lot of money. I've been doing this for years and years and years. I've been teaching my formula for years and years and years. You don't have to put up with a lot of the Uber and Lyft bullshit. Just putting that out there. What Andrew Carter says, and as an experiment, I like experiments. As an experiment, if a rider can identify as a female and not get in trouble, what about a driver identifying as a female? Would the rider lodge a complaint? Give her 1 star. Very good point, Andrew. Love My Hometown says, start a lawsuit against Uber for discrimination. I think it'll come. I honestly think there will be enough males getting together and say, hang on, you know what, you're discriminating. You're not giving me the fair, equal chance. You didn't create a tool called men preferences. It will come. The lawsuit will come, right? But you got to understand, as a rider and as a driver, when you download that app, you're pretty much signing your life away. You're guided by their arbitration. There's very little you can do as in bringing a lawsuit because you've signed to their terms and agreements. You're bound by their arbitration. You're bound by their legal perimeters, right? So it's going to be hard filing class actions over this. Mike Whitley says, I'll be 400 plus at the end of my day today on my second JFK of the day. The rest have been easy local runs for me, all private clients. Yeah! Yeah, I love hearing that. Mike Whitley in the house, cashing in, baby, on private clients. That's the language I love, my friend. Thank you for sharing. Love My Hometown. Are you hiring? I have a waiting list, pages and pages long. Right? My people stick with me because the drivers that I have in my fleet, I train them how to get private clients, and I give them the double bookings or the triple bookings, so they're making money through my clients as well. Anthony says, I haven't sent Uber the video. I have not. Why my screen froze? Apologies. Am I back? Can you? Why my screen froze? Apologies. Am I back? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Indy's in the house. Indy is in the house, my friend Indy. I like seeing her name there. If women passengers pay more for the service and the woman drivers are paid more, I'm all for it. But as with Uber Green and Uber Pet, you'll have to drive longer distances for pickup for far too often. Good point. Good point. No sound? There is no sound. Should be sound. You're back. Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me? Can you hear my sound? Greg says, Professor and Jeff Watts are the real deal, y'all. Top rideshare channels. Love you back, Greg. Appreciate your kind words. I really do. And I love Jeff Watts' channel. Raw, real, honest. Raw, real, and honest. Ivan in the house. Guys will request women drivers under 25 and no more than 130 pounds of Scandinavian descent. Will people be able to request quiet mode and no Black or Middle Eastern drivers? What is the ratio of female? You know, it's a funny comment you made, but it has to be addressed, right? Preferences. You're putting in there woman preferences. Well, are there, like he says, are there male preferences? Oh, I want a woman of Scandinavian descent under 130 pounds. I like the humor. Under 25 years old. Of course, they will not have those preferences built in. All hell would break loose. Lawsuits incoming. Lawsuits incoming. Lawsuits incoming. They are incoming. You 100% correct, Ivan. The lawsuits. And by the way, if you have an issue with Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Amazon Flex, I started a website called giglawyers.com. That's my website where I connect, and there's an email, I think it says tips@giglawyers.com. If you have a tip, if you were sexually harassed, if you had an accident while you're driving, I have an entire portfolio of top attorneys around the country. I have built out that network over years, and I just, hey, I have this driver who has this issue. I hook you up. So if you have questions, if you have a tip, if you have a beef against Uber, Lyft, Instacart, any of those companies, DoorDash, DoorTrash, Uber Eats, Goober, DoorTrash, Uber Steals, whatever they're called, go to giglawyers.com. So apparently my picture and my sound is back. We're on 28 likes. Get me to 30. I need to continue my day here. Get me to 30. I need two more likes, please. Let's get the video viral. That'll be greatly appreciated. Just get 2 more likes. Hit that like button. Anybody for a 29? Anybody for a 29? Anybody for a 30? We're on 29. Anybody for a 30? Anybody for a 30? Hit the like button, please. Let's get up to 30 at least. It helps the algorithm. It helps the video. 31. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wish you all an amazing day. I hope we get a lot of feedback on this topic. Personally, I don't see it being successful. It is a pilot project in LA, in San Francisco, and Detroit. So the guinea pig drivers will be LA, San Francisco, and Detroit. I do not see this working in the real world. I think that Khosrowshahi will abandon this one. He's all out for the money. He's all looking at new ways to making more money, exploit, steal, abuse, and get more money out of drivers and riders, but I don't see this being a success. You're breaking up. I wish you a good day. Peace out, my friends.